Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches podcast. I'm joined today by one of my coaching students and fellow MFR therapists, Shelly Flynn. Shelley is the owner of Velvet Wrecking Ball Myofascial Release. She's also a labor and delivery nurse and has a great story to share with us today. Shelley practices out of Lake Elsinore, California. Did I say that right?
You got it. You got it.
Okay, awesome. Well, Shelley, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Awesome. I mean, for a long time now, and I'm very excited to have you on the podcast. I've been watching you do this thing where you keep going and like you kind of have like triumph after triumph after triumph. And what I've observed from you is that you never quit. And I appreciate that on so many levels. And it's been fun to watch you grow your business. If I remember right, I think you said somewhere that you found out about me or my podcast at the very first seminar that you took. Is that right?
Yeah. And I remember driving home from the seminar. I'm really excited talking to Steve about the seminar. And then we turned on your podcast. And so all the first podcasts from the beginning, because we started at your very first one, he listened to like the first 100 with me. Oh. And so now when I have a new one, I go, "You want to listen to Heather?" Well, okay.
He's like, maybe not. Thanks, Steve. That's amazing. I love it. So what has it been like to have the support of the podcast and then eventual support of coaching since you found MFR, like having those two things together? What has that been like for you?
I always have a don't quit kind of attitude, but there's sometimes that I want to. And so I would like go on the Facebook group or listen to some podcasts and say, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. And it's, well, why? And what do you want in the long run? And then I do a thought download and then I do the model and then, oh, okay, no, I'm fine. Carry on.
Yeah. So you figured out how to use the coaching tools for you when you feel like things aren't going how you want them to go, so you can get through it and not quit. I love that. It's very important because as people have heard me say, you've probably heard me say this before, but businesses just aren't linear and we want them to be. Like we want to just start our business and just go off the charts with getting fully booked and making money. And it can look like it's happening super easy for some people and that it's a lot harder for others. But the truth is it's hard for everybody and it's not linear and we don't get to choose necessarily how it's going to go.
Yeah.
Let's back up for a minute. Why don't you tell everybody how you found myofascial release in the first place?
I had gone to a class called Spinning Babies. They were talking about fascia in a way that I had never heard before, because when I was in college 30 years ago, fascia was packing material. That's the layer you cut through their skin, fascia, uterus. Okay, got it. That's all I knew. And so they were talking about positioning moms for labor and delivery and movement and all the things that we could do. And fascia was this living part of us. Very curious. And so, you start to Google things and then Google starts throwing things back at you. And I got all sorts of crazy stuff on there. Right about that time, my daughter had her third C-section a year previous. And so baby's 1 year old and she still cannot stand up straight. I said, I don't know what's going on, but I think it's a fascia thing. We need to find somebody. So we found a local John Barnes trained myofascial release therapist. And so she went and saw Ruth. And after her first visit, says, Mom, you need to go see her because your knee still hurts. So, okay. Saw Ruth my first visit. I'm going, I feel really good. The next morning, I'm at the hospital getting ready to clock in. And I go, I'm texting Ruth, I feel taller. She says, you probably are. I said, this is so cool. Can I do this? She says, you have a license to touch. And she sent me a link to the seminars. So that was like the end of January. The next one was the first weekend of March, and I was there.
Awesome. Do you remember what year that was that you started?
Yeah, that was 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right at the top of the pandemic.
Yeah. We were just getting past the masks mandates. And so I went to that first seminar, and that's when I heard about you. And so downloaded that podcast. So it's just been, and then I opened my business that August.
You work as a labor and delivery nurse still to this day, correct?
Yep. Yep.
But your ultimate goal is to be able to kind of retire from there and do MFR into your retirement years.
Never been in a financial place where I knew I could quit working totally. So I've been, kind of on the lookout. What's something I can do later that doesn't take, being a labor and delivery nurse is physically very demanding. And even now, I mean, I worked yesterday and my body feels it. I'll treat myself later this afternoon.
Yeah. I can't imagine like attending births like for 8 hours a day or however long your shift is. Is your shift like a 12-hour shift? Okay.
12 hours. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have attended 2 of my friends' births and I had I had 3 C-sections, but I've attended my friends' births that were vaginal deliveries. And I mean, it's a lot just as like a friend watching. I didn't really do much. Yeah. So I can see why you wouldn't want to continue, like, while it's amazing, but like why you are creating an exit plan for that and choosing to do MFR. So let's talk about your MFR business. Tell me a little bit about what it's been like to build your practice and what's been hard, what's been easy, and where are you at right now?
I kind of walked into it with a rose tinted glasses because I looked at the other practices in the area and they were fully booked. So I'm sure once I open my doors, people are going to be banging to come on in. No, it didn't happen like that. Started probably that first month of August. I maybe treated 3 people, but then it slowly grew towards like I'd have 1 or 2 clients a week and then 3 a week. And it was really slow at the beginning. After my first year, the office that I was in all of a sudden closed down, the whole facility. It's like I had to scramble and find a new place. And luckily, I found some place. And moving there was actually a blessing in disguise because it was a smaller facility, but everybody knows each other. And so we go more referrals back and forth and just a support community of other women, business women working. So I really like that part.
Yeah. Did you have technology struggles when you started your business? Like, was it hard for you?
Still have technology struggles. Yeah. I just realized that my Google Voice phone number it's been, I don't know. Anyways, I re-downloaded the app and now it will notify me when I get a call. I don't have very many cards out anymore that have that phone number on it, but I'm still getting calls from there. So yeah.
Great. Well, and I think I bring this up not to like tease you or make fun of you in any way, but I think that like the technology struggle or there can be this intimidation of like having to create a website, having to create a Google listing, having to like have a Facebook page and like all these things that are recommended to have a healthy, thriving business. So you can kind of automate some of this, how you meet people situation and get online booking can be very intimidating and overwhelming and hard to solve. And one of the reasons why I want to talk to you was you figured out how to overcome a lot of these challenges. So do you want to talk about what you did? Did you hire someone? Like, how did you overcome some of this stuff?
My first website, it was me and my best friend's 16-year-old kid sitting on their couch, figuring it out. Yeah. And some things were fine. And some things later on I looked at and I said, oh, that's not working. Just recently, I'm working with a company that does my website, my booking, my billing, everything technological. And it's all under one thing. So I'm really liking that. And their phone helpline is like, I can't make this work. I can call their 800 number and somebody will take my hand and walk me through it. And that has been great. I love that. So I feel like, and doing that, I've gone back and found like the broken links and how the Google Voice things that weren't working. Since they do it all the time, they could look at it and see it.
I love that. It's so nice that you were able to find a solve for that because some people will just sit in this like inability to fix it or inability to figure it out and make that the reason why they can't have a business or decide I'm not going to have any of those things. and then wonder why people can't find them, why they don't get clients, right? So yeah, that's good. I'm excited for you. And I've been looking at your website and it's very nice. And it's just nice to see that you've figured this out. And I think it's totally fine to ask for help and have a 16-year-old or someone's teenager help you figure it out, because this technology is like secondhand to them. They don't know any different.
Exactly. Yeah.
And technology is always changing too. So this is something I just want to, for everybody listening, when you get done listening to this episode, go check your websites, check your links, check your Google listing, check your phone number, like make sure all of these things are working, especially like if you haven't heard from a new client recently or you haven't had a booking, go and check all of your links, make sure they work, because they break all the time for various reasons. And it's just good to know that things are working. And I say that as much to myself. Like I went and recently upgraded my Google listing. I hadn't updated it in like 6 months, and it was really easy to clean it up. Just like add some stuff to it, make sure everything was working. And a lot of my links weren't working and it was kind of reading weird. So it's just good to dust that stuff off and update it, make sure your messaging says the right stuff.
One of the things that this company found for me is I had 2 business pages. One was Velvet Wrecking Ball MFR and one was Velvet Wrecking Ball Myofascial Release. And so I was competing with myself to be top. And so that was dropping me down. So have other eyes look at your stuff. I'd say schedule it, have somebody else go in there and look at it.
Yeah. Ask your friends to look at it and be like, do you see anything weird? Can you click around in here? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so a lot has happened since we started working. I was just kind of trying to remember. I remember you going to your office building one day and having that shut down. And then I feel like you've had like a couple illnesses or maybe illnesses in your family. You had a knee injury where you were off work for a period of time. You've dealt with slow weeks, slow months, and like struggling to get fully booked. And then again, like the computer and the technological struggles. Out of all of that, would you say like there was a time where you wanted to throw in the towel, or how have you kept going even with having all these circumstances arise?
One is just the knowledge that I can't continue at the hospital forever.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I'll get old, but I don't want to be old and poor. I want to be old and have money so I can do the things I want to do.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people struggle with that. They had low paying jobs or they just didn't put money away. And then all of a sudden they have Social Security and maybe a little bit of a pension, and that's all. And I didn't want that. No, I want to go to Europe again. I mean, I just got back from that trip and no, I want to go again. It may not be next year, maybe 5 years from now, but I'm going again.
Mm-hmm. Were you able to pay for that trip with your MFR business?
No, that was some of my stock options from the hospital.
Okay. That's fun.
Next one will be MFR funded.
Yeah. So what are your business goals?
I want to, while I'm still working at the hospital, my fully booked number is 12. So I'm in the office 4 days a week, 3 to 4 clients a day. If I have 4 on one day, I won't have 4 the next day. I'll block it off. But 4 is my max. Yeah. And just right now to be fully booked every week would be awesome. My quit the hospital number is 8. So once I have 8 reliably, then that's quit the hospital. And then I tell myself that 12 a week is I'm going to Europe again.
That's kind of exciting. Like in your mind, like how far away are you from this goal? Like, does it seem really doable? Does it seem far away? Like, where are you at?
It does. In fact, one of the things that I write down almost every day, in addition to my thought download, is that I'm just days away from being fully booked. No, it's next week I have 5 or 6. Somebody just canceled, so I think I have 6. But I still have more clients to see this week that will rebook for next week. So next week it could be another 8 again.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about this number goal of 8 people. I think some people listening aren't familiar with what I teach in coaching, which is to make sure that you know your fully booked number and that it's like it's unique to everybody, because I think that there's this section of people in our industry that think success is working 60 hours a week and having a ton of clients. And if you don't have a ton of clients in a big clinic, you're not successful. I just want to really highlight that for you, if you had 8 people consistently a week, you could leave your job and also go to Europe. So I think that that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. So let's talk about that. How did you come up with that number? How do you know that that will work for you?
I just figured out how much I'm bringing home from the hospital, not how much I make an hour, not, all that, but how much. And so that 8 would be enough for me to have the same takeout. What do you call it?
Like take home pay?
Yeah, take home pay from the business. So yeah, that was it. So, and then more than that, that money can go into savings or, you know, future retirement, whatever.
How many hours a week do you work at the hospital right now?
Usually just 12. But last week I had to do some education things down there. So that took time away from my business, which really affected this week. I'm getting to the point where the hospital is interfering with my life too much. So,
Okay. Well, and it's more hours, right? I think it's so cool to be like, what takes me 12 hours to make in the hospital, I can make in 8 hours in my business. And that's really fun. And it creates so much freedom, time freedom and money freedom and brain freedom and body freedom, right? Because it's not as taxing of a job as delivering babies is. So I just want to celebrate all of that for you and knowing that you are days away from hitting it or weeks away from hitting it. And having that goal of being like, and not only am I going to hit that, then I'm going to leave the hospital, but then I'm going to just stretch my goal a little bit further so that I can do the things that I want to do, like go to Europe again. It's really exciting and fun. And I think it really helps to have a why behind what you're doing. Has it helped you to nail these numbers down? Like, has that helped you to get closer to fully booked, really knowing your numbers versus being like, I'll just work whenever and take whoever comes?
part of it is I have my set hours I'm at the office and I want to fill those. But just getting good referral partners has really helped too. There's a yoga and
Tell me about that. Well, who have you found to be a good referral partner and how did you figure that out?
I have a yoga instructor who's a friend now. We met at BNI, which is Business Networking International.
Mhm.
And that has helped me a lot with talking to people, reaching out to people, reaching out of my comfort zone. And they're all business people. So they're really, here's a marketing idea or here's a business thing, you might want to go this and see what you can learn. And so that's helped me. But it wouldn't have helped me if I hadn't had the coaching first, because the coaching teaches me how to say and how to communicate about what myofascial release is. And mostly importantly, what it can do for you, because it's hard to explain what it does and why it feels good and why it works. I mean, we can give them some words, but they're not going to understand. But just to know that it does work, and I have every faith in it that whatever problem you have, myofascial release is going to help it.
Yeah. Do you intend to continue to work with like pregnancy women that are pregnant and about to deliver? Is that like your wheelhouse or is that like your
That
niche? What
that
do
is
you?
one of the things that BNI wants us to do is name your perfect client. And so I have 3 people with unexplained pain, women before and after delivery, and before and after surgery, because I've had great results with that. So one of the things I do now, there's like a baby boom going on at my hospital among the workers. And so instead of going to the baby shower, which at this point is like, eh, I say, come and let me give you your first treatment. And then you can decide if you think that's going to work. Yeah. So I've had 3 or 4 come through, get the free one, and then come back for more. And I'm still trying to get that. Okay, now you've had the baby. Let's do one more session so we can see how good you can feel after that. But, they're busy with newborns.
Oh, yeah. I think one of the things I used to do in my business was any pregnant mom that came to see me, I always treated their baby for free after delivery. And so like the mom and the baby would come in and I would give them a complimentary treatment and then that usually like established a really good bond between us and then they would come back in the future. So yeah, it might be something you want to add in. Just be like, if I treat you while you're pregnant, like I will treat your baby for free after delivery, one time or whatever. So something to think about adding. And for anyone listening, it's always nice to see like, how can I support this person in this next layer of what they're going through? And especially if you're interested in seeing pediatrics or seeing those brand new babies. I always love to treat the brand new babies. I'm not a super fan of like treating toddlers just because they won't sit there and I don't want to chase them around the room. But babies are just
super fun to
Yeah.
treat.
Yeah. I've got to do a few babies and I love it. It's the biggest thrill.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself like 6 months or a year from now in your business?
Fully booked for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And probably if I don't leave the hospital this December, I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably hang until June, and then that'll be 25 years at the hospital and retire then.
Okay. That's exciting too. That's like just right around the corner. Yeah, that's a big milestone. I love that. Do you want to speak a little bit to what it's been like to be in the coaching program and for it to take a while to get fully booked? How has that experience been for you? Has that been a problem? Has it varied? Just your honest.
It's been frustrating at times, especially people come in and like their first 3 months, they're already making 10K and stuff. But something keep telling myself, don't compare and despair. I'm me. Also, I'm learning a totally new craft. A lot of these people had had the business or they had something similar. And so the MFR was another label. I did not, I mean, we barely touch our patients at the hospital, barely. And when I go in but I do treat my patients that I have now, and it gives me the best reviews. Like I get all these bonus points now because Shelley spent so much time with me and we did these exercises and stretches and I felt so good. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so I just realized it's taken me a while to build my skills but I feel like I'm in no way an expert or anywhere even I have a lot to learn, but there's a lot I can give. And so that's where I go forward in my confidence. But then the coaching program, it's like the few months that I was out of it because I did like 2 12-week rounds with you and then I took some time off.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I tried to do the thought downloads on my own and it just didn't. It's not like you come and check my homework or anything, but just knowing that I can do it. And if I have an issue and my thought process doesn't clear, I can put the model on there and you guys can help me figure out where my brain is going wrong. So that's one of the ways that coaching really helps me because I can't make it to the live calls anymore, but the Facebook group is amazing. I love seeing everybody's wins. And it's hard when somebody is going through something, that you've been through too, like when somebody's mom, passes or, you feel for them. It's really cool now when I go to seminars and I get to meet people that have been in coaching with me because like we already have a bond there. And so it's like,
Yeah. I mean, it is such a great group of people. And I think it's fun. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is of this, but like the difference from being the 12-week program to being in the year program, I feel like people get to know each other like even more. And it's just like more exposure. But I think it's interesting that you say like you don't even come to the live calls anymore. How is that for you? Like, how do you get the value out of the program? Just from coming to the Facebook group or listening to the replays, like how did you come to terms with that?
yeah, one of the things is right before you offered the year-round program is when I joined BNI, and it's an early Tuesday morning, which is when the group call is. And so it was a struggle at first because I really like live coaching. And anytime I can get in there, like if we're dark at BNI, I'll be there and I'll have my hand raised from the beginning because it's fun getting coached. Well, not always fun. It's beneficial to get coached live.
Come on now. I'm just teasing you.
Sometimes it's fun, but sometimes
It's hard. I mean, I feel like it's so vulnerable I just have so much respect for everybody in the group. When I log in, I see like 50 some people staring back at me on the screen. First of all, I'm like, I can't believe this many people show up at, for you, 8 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday and have their hands up and want coaching and want to share their struggle with the whole group so that they can get through it. It always amazes me the amount of courage it takes and the way everybody shows up in the group it's amazing.
I get a lot of benefits out of BNI, but I get as much benefit out of being in the coaching group. So most of the time I schedule time on Thursday to watch that week's download. I'm a week or two behind right now, but if I want to stay yeah. I want to stay as current as I can because the Facebook group is a direct mirror of what's happening. So sometimes somebody will post on Tuesday afternoon, I did what I said I was going to do. And I got to wait till Thursday to find out what that conversation was.
It's like a TV show and you're just like, what happened? Gotta catch up.
Exactly.
That's so fun. I'm glad it's kind of entertaining like that. It's so,
Yeah.
I never thought about that like the Facebook group is a direct reflection of like what Tuesday's coaching call was. I never like really thought about that, but that's totally true. Yeah. That's fun. Fun way to look at it. Okay. So you don't come to the live calls, but you do if you can. You use the Facebook group. What other like features do you have been helpful for you from the program?
You've been doing lately the pop-ups. Some of those, if I'd had these a while ago, 9 months ago, I might not have needed to redo my website again, but it's done. But just like talking,
Websites are like a work in progress always.
they are. Yeah. And I can go in and update anything I want anytime. But like when you had the call with your coach, that I really enjoyed that one. I got to see young Heather, kind of where you were when you started and see how that changed and stuff. So that was really cool. The pop-ups are giving us a lot of good business sense to where the coaching isn't so much about business, it's about our brains. So the pop-ups are giving us more business ideas and, try this and do this. And it's with other MFR therapists. Usually that's their second offer, which is great because I'd rather support an MFR therapist than, somebody else.
Yeah, Meg and I are always trying to figure out like what's going on with the group right now and where are people struggling and how can we add, even though there's a ton of content and training in the course portal itself and like the foundations are all there, how can we provide even more support? So we try to come up with 1 to 2 trainings every single month, which is a lot. And it's not even actually part of the program. It's just a totally bonus thing that we do. And we bring in other coaches or we bring in other MFR therapists. So we bring it, or Meg and I put on the information just to fill in any gaps that someone might be having or blind spots that someone might be having. And a lot of times people come like, we don't like with the conversation with my coach, I didn't even really know what we were going to talk about ahead of time. We ended up talking, like we kind of thought it was going to be one way and then we like got totally off topic. So we'll have to have her back in. But a lot of people have said they really liked that conversation. They like to see behind the scenes and they like to kind of see like what I've gone through. And really the way I run this coaching program is I don't have you guys ask anything out of you guys that I haven't done myself or I'm not currently doing. So I'm like, everything
and we can feel that.
Good. I'm glad because it really is true. Like I know these things work. And then it's also funny when people post in the Facebook group and they're like, I did this thing that Heather recommended and it turned out that it worked. And I'm like, yes, it's almost like this stuff works, you guys. It's so funny. But I think the fun thing about it being a year long now too, is like people get the opportunity to do this at their own pace. Some people are trying to leave a job. Some people are not. Some people are breadwinners. Some people are not. Some people are purposefully doing their MFR as a hobby, which also I think people have heard that is your business a jobby or a hobby, whatever podcast, and been like devastated to find out that they were having a hobby. And I'm like, a hobby is not a problem if you're having the hobby on purpose. But if you want that to be a sustaining business and you're not getting a sustainable business, you're doing it more as a hobby, like it's unintentional. So it's really like deciding everything so much more purposefully so you get what you want and you're not just accidentally having a business that you didn't intend to have or a hobby that you didn't intend to have. So yeah, because I think you had a crisis about that episode at one point, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were like, I listened. And I'm like, Shelley, I'm not personally calling you out. Tell Steve that wasn't about you. Okay, so you love the pop-ups. What else has been helpful for you?
I don't know. Haven't we covered everything? The calls, the Facebook group, pop-ups, and just doing the thought downloads and the models is really the part that is going to change your business. And I was really slow coming to do, I would do them occasionally, but it wasn't until I was really intentional about doing them daily or almost every day. And now I'm kind of rethinking what time of day am I going to do it? Because Bible and coffee first thing in the morning. I think the next thing is going to be thought download. Just get it done and clear my head and then go from there.
Yeah, I think it changes your day when you do that. And the intentionality behind doing those daily or like a few times a week, just making it part of your routine really changes the trajectory of your business and your life. Like I think when you have a clean brain, you dream more and you you experience things differently because you're not all just going into your day super bogged down and cluttered by all the thoughts you had the day before that you didn't resolve. You're getting it resolved right in the morning.
The
And
thought downloads,
it's just literally writing down your thoughts.
It's changed so much the way I think and I operate. Like some stuff was happening yesterday with our family and people saying things about my family. And my first thought was, I can't change anybody else. And I know it's true. So I didn't get upset about it, where some other people were really upset, and rightly so, because people were saying horrible things about them. But, my first thoughts was, I can't change that person and what they're saying, but I know it's true. And so I was able to carry on through my day.
Yeah, that's so nice not to have to spin out or go just get eaten alive by the drama because I love drama. I'm a very dramatic person. I don't know if you can tell, but it's such a easier life. It's so freeing to not have to be sucked into drama unless you intentionally are I'm going to be dramatic right now, right? Sometimes you want to be emotional and you want to get upset. And I just think knowing the difference between the two is very, very powerful. So
It is. It
so
really is.
yeah, it's a superpower. I always tell you guys, being able to kind of go through your business day like a piece of Swiss cheese flying through the universe. It's anything the client says or does can just flow through you. If you get a late cancellation or a missed appointment, it does not have to be so personal and you do not have to spin out about it. And it's having that available as an option and having that awareness of when this happens, I do this and I'm doing it unintentionally. I feel like I don't have any power over it. Then realizing oh, if I just am aware of this, then I can change how I respond to it instead of react to it. It just changes everything. Even being able to be my goal is 8 people a week. And even if you're not hitting it, being I'm 1 week away from this, or I'm 3 months away from this goal, instead of it being I have to make 6 figures and I'm $75,000 away from it. When you're so far away from the bigger goal, it's harder to envision it's possible. It's harder to believe in it, all of those things. So it's you just make all these micro beliefs along the way that eventually put down all of the framework for how you get to the goal.
Exactly. Oh, let me share something. Let me show everybody this. We've all seen this sticker at the seminars, right?
So for people that are listening, she's sharing a water bottle that has the MFR sticker with the pain is crossed out. Yep.
So I take that to work, everywhere I go, my water bottle's with me. So I had it sitting next to me at lunch yesterday and somebody walked by and says, Shelley, you know what that looks like? I know it looks like mother. And I said, but it's myofascial release. It gets you out of pain. So I've gotten so many, at least conversations started with that sticker and water bottle. And so put it on your card. Get people talking, even if they're, it leaves them a little astray, you rein them back in. But I love my water bottle.
It's good. It's good. Whatever gets the conversation started. And I think being willing to meet people, tell them you're an MFR therapist and make offers to help them, even by way of having that sticker on your water bottle, is so helpful for our industry because we're going to make MFR mainstream by being MFR therapists that are in business and we stay in business. That's how we make it mainstream and that's how we make it accessible to everybody. And I just commend you for continuing to go and not making the timeline a problem and keeping your goals in focus and doing your thought downloads. Way to use the tools to have a good experience. Thanks for tuning in today. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to remind you that my Foundations program is still open for enrollment, and we're keeping the doors open until every spot is filled. I get that life's been extra busy lately between the election, family, holidays, everything else we juggle as entrepreneurs. It can be easy to put your goals on the back burner. As a mom of 3 and a business owner, I totally get it. I see you. But here's the thing. If you're ready to get fully booked in 2025, to turn those valuable myofascial release skills into a true revenue generating practice, there's no better time to start. The Foundations program is 12 months of support designed to help MFR therapists just like you reach their fullest potential. This program is specifically crafted for those of you who want to move beyond trading hours for dollars and build a practice that truly supports your life goals. We're talking about a step-by-step path to get booked out and fully realize the business potential of the training you've already invested in. And for those of you who've been in business for years, when you join, we will adjust the business you already have to ensure you aren't under-earning and are getting the most out of your business by making it even easier to save you time and generate more money. You'll get weekly support, accountability, and proven strategies to help you succeed. And I'm sending all enrollees a little extra thank you gift, so you'll be set up with everything you need. The investment is $3,000 for the entire year. That's for 12 months of support, resources, and growth opportunities, and the best community. I can't wait to support you and watch your practice flourish. So if you've been hesitating, let this be your sign. Join us now, and let's get you on the path to a fully booked and thriving 2025. Go to www.themfrcoach.com/foundation for all the details and to enroll now. We'll see you there. Is there anything else you wanted to say about your journey or your business before we wrap up?
Something that's really helped me lately in my sales with my clients is my most recent knee injury. I'd had a similar one 7 years before, and it took me forever to get out of pain. And so when I share with them that I went from same kind of injury to walking through Europe in 4 months, that's the power of MFR. And so use your stories, whatever your story is, use that to make MFR mainstream.
Yeah, I love that. You should probably write about that and put it on your website and put it on your Google listing and start putting it into social media, because I don't know if I've seen that come out of you.
I've made Facebook posts on it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can never do too many.
That's true.
You can never say, tell your story too many times either, because people don't know, right? So that's very good. Awesome. Where can people find you? What's your website?
VWBMFR.com. So Velvet Wrecking Ball MFR. Yes. And that's my Gmail as well. So Velvet Wrecking Ball MFR.
Okay. Awesome. And are you on Instagram and Facebook too?
Facebook, yes. Instagram is broken. I'm still working on that.
Okay.
I'm in Southern California. If you're driving towards Temecula to go wine tasting, I'm right off the freeway. Give me a call. We'll see if I can fit you in.
Awesome. And you've got online scheduling, right?
Of course.
I love that. Okay, awesome. Everybody go check out Shelly Flynn at Velvet Wrecking Ball Myofascial Release. Get an appointment with her. She's got magic hands and all the skills. She's a John Barnes trained MFR therapist, and she's ready, willing, and able to help you. Thanks for being on the podcast and sharing your story, Shelley. And for everybody else, I'll be back at least next week with another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com, for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making 6 figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.